we have some special guests this week after CG. That was a pretty much of a disaster last week, right?
From a betting perspective, I did pretty damn well. I don't know.
Well, from a betting perspective, yeah, but from a show perspective, I was blue and I was the only one on the video telecast. So
yeah, you completely fucked that up for sure.
Yeah, thanks. We just got demonetized in the opening setting. So
there goes our 25 cents.
Yeah, let's introduce our guest today, Ian Parker. How you doing? Introduce yourself to the podcast, please. Oh, did we lose him?
Yeah, we did.
Ian, your voice is gone already. Yeah, your voice is gone. All right, try to get another connection. We'll bring you back in. Ty Slice, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing all right. Been going a little bit crazy with the move. My son's surgery this morning. Need a mental break, talk some fights, and just enjoy you guys' company.
Yeah, definitely. And CG, you got anything else to add? You want to curse again before we start?
No, I think I'm all set. Coming off a good week, want to build off that momentum. And this is not the best card, UFC Uruguay, but, there's never a bad night of fights. So excited to break them down.
Yeah, and I think you got a couple sharp plays already. I already made 2 plays, and I told Ty right before we started, I got the play of the card on this one. I think everybody should be on this one. But this is UFC on ESPN plus 14. Shevchenko versus Carmouche 2. We got a 5 o'clock start. Ian's trying to get back in here. Let's see if we got him before we get started on this first fight. Ian, you there?
Yeah, you got me?
We got you. Introduce yourself to the podcast. Let everybody know how they know you.
What's up, guys? Ian Parker here. I'm on the Alex and Florian podcast every week. I'm the one beating Kenny Florian's ass every Monday. Also, I'm the creator of K-Chiro. We sponsored guys back in Strikeforce, managed guys like Chris Weidman, John Vellante, Constantinos Philippou. And now I'm here on this awesome podcast ready to talk shit about Gianni the Greek and hopefully break down this week's fights. And let's make some money together. Why not?
I just want to be on the record that Gianni is a friend of ours. Obviously, he's not a friend of Ian's, but he's a friend of mine. He's a friend of CG's. Ty wasn't on the podcast last week. But just for the record.
It's all love. I'm just jealous that he has a spot that I want and he knows nothing about the sport. That's all. It's just jealousy.
Right. All right, so let's see who knows anything about this first fight. And it doesn't seem like anyone has a strong lean, so I'll take this one. So this is Polyana Viana and Veronica Macedo. And if we look at the odds here, which I can bring in for everybody to look, we have Viana is minus 115, Macedo is minus 105. So I didn't even realize this, but these odds kind of tightened up a little bit as the day went on, I guess. And I'm a little surprised, to be honest with you. I thought Macedo would stay as an underdog. But let me give you some of the numbers here. Macedo is basically at 125 again. She was at 135 in her first UFC fight on short notice. Last 2 fights were at 125. Polyana Viana is usually a 115er. She's up to 125 for this fight, and she's going to have a 3-inch reach advantage. Macedo's a southpaw. This is going to be basically start out as a kicking contest. On the ground, Macedo seems to spend too much time on the ground and comfortable on her back, trying to throw up, triangles and trying to get arm bars and things like that. And she hasn't been very successful with it so far. So I did like Macedo when she was like plus 150. Now that this is a pick'em, I don't like Viana. I don't really like Macedo either. I think I'm going to stay away. At Macedo at plus 150, I would think about it maybe if it got to like plus 160, plus 170. But I think this is a stay away from fight for me at this point. No bet. So CG, what do you think here?
It's a tough fight to assess. All Viana's wins come by finish, 4 TKOs, 6 subs. Although she is on a 2-fight losing streak. Look at her losses. When she lost to Hannah Cyphers, she outstruck her 77-67. No takedowns for either fighter. When she lost to JJ Eldridge, she outstruck her too, 46-40, and had 1 takedown. Lost the decision there. Viana was 1 for 5 in takedown attempts, which doesn't look good in the eyes of the judges. But Macedo's 0-3 in the UFC, finished in 2 of those fights. And her greatest accomplishment in the UFC thus far is going the distance with Andrea Lee. Even in that fight, she's outstruck 56-24, taken down 3 times, allowed 8 advances. So, it's tough. I think it's a stay away for the most part. I don't really have confidence in any of these fighters, but I think if Viana does get the fight to the ground, I think she can score sub here. I know there's a lot of support for Macedo right now. I'm just not there yet.
Yeah, I agree with you. Ian, let me throw it to you because I know Ty mentioned earlier he didn't really have a strong lead, but Ian, do you have any leans here on this Viana Macedo fight?
It's funny. A lot of people, when they reach out to me in regards to fights similar to this one, you kind of got to look at the athleticism when you're this low in the division, and honestly, this is one of those where you think Viana should really win this fight based on the experience in the UFC, based on whatever success she's had over her opponent. But I would stay away from this. I just don't see the value. To me, this is just pure rolling the dice. I just think there's better value elsewhere. So I'm not going to play this one either. There's just no real decisive way to go here.
All right, since everyone is kind of shitting on this first fight, Ty, let me throw you the second fight because I know we talked about this.
I actually, if the lines stay pretty close to tight after weigh-ins, I think I might make a small play on Viana, to be honest. I was just looking over Viana's Macedo's record. He has never beaten an opponent with a winning record, and she beat one girl that was 2-0. Since then, that girl is 1-3. And then her only other win versus a fighter with a winning record was in the amateurs at 4-0. And since turning pro, that girl is 2-4. So I don't really know how to assess that other than she can't beat fighters that are even decent. And
she is young too, though, right? She's only 23 years old.
She is, but she's 0-3 versus fighters with winning records. I mean, I kind of tend to think if you're getting even odds against somebody like that, it's worth a small play.
I mean, she had a good first round against Jillian Robertson. She won that first round, but then Robertson subbed her in the second. So, I mean, that's really all you have to go by.
And that's really the thing. So when I was assessing this, like, I think Viana has more ways to win, and then that combined with her Macedo only beating terrible fighters, I mean, I think it's worth a small play when you're getting relatively even money on the fight.
All right, so we have one person who may put a small play. I think everyone else is staying away. Fight 2 on the card: Gilbert Burns and Alexey Kunchenko. Ty, let me throw it to you only because I know you kind of had a lean before we started the pod. Burns, this is his first fight at 170. Kunchenko, he's usually a 170 guy. Burns going to have a 2-inch height advantage, 1-inch reach advantage. And again, I believe Kunchenko's 20-0, right? He hasn't lost yet. So, Ty, what do you think here?
Yeah, so I think Kunchenko is getting a little disrespected in the betting line at -135. I know Gilbert Burns, his brother just won on the Contender Series. He has the name value coming into this fight, but he's jumping up in weight. He's kind of fell in love with his hands lately. If he falls in love with his hands in this fight, Kunchenko is going to knock him out. I love taking Kunchenko at -135, and I'm actually going to place a small bet on wins inside the distance at +258 right now. Also, Steve, I think we lost your audio.
You lost me, Ian. I'm sorry. I just threw it to you. You there?
Yeah, no, I'm here. You know what? Again, this is another fight where, I like Gilbert Burns also. I think your man said it right. The problem is he's gotten too in love with his hands, for a guy who's really just so good on the ground. But you know what? At the same time, it's just, for me, it's one of those fights where, you got a guy who's, what do you say, Kunchenko was 20-0. But sometimes when you look at those wins outside of the UFC, it's really hard to really gauge. Again, I don't know if I feel comfortable touching this fight. For me, I love when Gilbert Burns is the underdog. For some reason, he shows up. But my fear also is that he doesn't use his fight IQ and it goes south. He stays standing and then he loses. If he gets his fight to the ground, though, it's all his. I'm not a big fan of betting when it was a striker versus grappler situation, even though Burns, I think, has fought the better level of competition. I'm not a big prop guy. However, I understand why you would place that bet 100%. I'm going to stay away from this one also. Maybe as I get closer, I'm hoping everyone leans towards Kunchenko. I would love to take Burns as an underdog if possible. At the moment, though, I'm not playing this one either.
All right, CG, I know you got to play on this in the breakdown. Look at him. He's fixing himself in the chair and everything.
I don't know. I think this is a tough fight. Burns has 3 takedowns and 4 advances in his last 2 fights against OAM and Mike Davis. But if the fight remains standing, I think you have to give the edge to Kunchenko. Plus, Kunchenko has 100% takedown defense. He defended all 15 of Yushin Okami's takedown attempts in his last fight. So that's pretty impressive. Yushin Okami's probably a better wrestler than Gilbert Burns. So that does concern me. I think, obviously, if the fight remains standing, Kunchenko probably wins a striking-based decision. But if Burns can get the fight to the ground, if he can clinch up and work a takedown, then he can sub anybody in that division. His jiu-jitsu's that good. So if I'm going to make a play on anybody, it's going to be Burns at dog money.
I like that.
All right. We can do Burns at dog money. I'll be honest with you. I'm going to give a real brief breakdown. I just think that Kunchenko doesn't make many mistakes in the octagon, and I think he's going to win himself another decision. Very good with his leg kicks. Very good with his defense too. He doesn't get hit with big shots at all. Although he is older, right? These guys, Burns is like 33. I think Kunchenko's like 35. I think they're a little bit older, but
yeah, Kunchenko's 35. And by the way, is this Burns' first fight at welterweight?
It is his first fight. Yeah, his first fight at welterweight. And again, he just had a grappling match like a month ago. He's real active. He always has like a grappling match in between his UFC fights. I don't know if you guys have noticed that.
His cardio's gotten a lot better too, which is good. Because you watch his fight against Michel Prazeres, it was awful. Gassed out in like the second round.
So, CJ, let me throw this next one to you, and this is my fight of the night. Alex de Silva and Rodrigo Vargas. Right now, let's just check these odds real quick before I throw it to you. What do we have here? We have Vargas at plus 225, and De Silva is minus 265. CG, what do you think here, bro?
So De Silva's 20-2, all 20 wins by finish, 13 TKO, 7 subs. Majority of those finishes came in the first round. Vargas is 10-2, 9 finishes, 6 TKOs, 3 subs. Vargas is a tough guy, decent boxing, brawler, but I just think De Silva has more avenues to victory. He's more well-rounded, and I'd like De Silva to win the fight, but as we were discussing before the broadcast, I think this fight should end in the distance, so that's the line that I'm really looking to bet.
Yeah, and that line, just so that everybody knows right here, is my line of the night. That minus 120. I love that fight doesn't go to decision. That's minus 120. And Ty, why don't you introduce the other line that you like too here?
Yeah, so this kind of speaks volumes because I don't really like props either. But you took away the odds right as I was looking at them.
Plus 169.
Yeah, Silva wins inside the distance at plus 169. I don't mind a small play on that. I think that getting De Silva at minus 265, I'm going to add him in every single parlay that I play. I think that line is way too low. Vargas is not a good fighter. I think that the only reason that he took this fight on short notice is because if he doesn't get hurt, I think he's guaranteed the Mexico City card. And because I believe he's from Mexico City, so it's going to be a hometown fight. So I think he's kind of doing the UFC a favor here. Realistically, he's the worst fighter in every single aspect of this fight. And at 265 for a fighter that has minimal chance to lose, I love that line.
Yeah, I think Alex de Silva wins this fight. I think he wins it in the first or second round, and I think he finishes Vargas. I like all of those lines. Ian Parker, what do you think here? Any plays on this?
I think he just said it right. If you're going to do this has got to be a parlay situation. Minus 265. I don't know if I'd call it a gift. I would definitely say that it's lower than I expected it to be. So I definitely see throwing him in a parlay with a few other bigger favorites down the line on this card just to try and get some value out of it. Again, I'm not a prop guy, but inside the distance for this one makes a ton of sense. So I do like that.
All right, so I guess I got to put one of my banners. I guess that's definitely a parlay pick for Ian Parker here. I got to play with all the bells and whistles on this, bro. I gotta do it here. So, CG's got something coming up right now. So, CG, what do you think here about this next fight? I'm gonna throw it back to you for the Freitas and Chris Gutierrez. This is a fight that I don't want to give you my hand just yet, but I already made a play on this fight, so I'm interested to see the breakdowns from you guys before I tell you who the play is. So go ahead, CG. What do you think?
Yeah, grappler versus striker. I mean, Freitas took Collaros down 6 times in their fight. Gutierrez has 60% takedown defense. I want to say he was taken down twice by Barcelos, subbed in the second round. So that shows a good takedown probability for De Freitas. But Gutierrez is a good striker, and if he can evade the takedowns, then he's going to win the stand-up. So I don't know. I don't feel confident enough in this fight right now to bet it. De Freitas beat Collaros. I think Collaros is kind of a bum. But then again, Gutierrez beat, Ryan McDonald, who's also kind of a bum. I need more data, need more film. This is going to be a pass unless you can really talk me into this, Steve.
Now, I'm not looking to talk anybody into anything. I want to see what Ty Slice says about this one. I know that he thought that McDonald was a bum, so he definitely was on Gutierrez in that last fight. I remember him trying to talk me off of even using McDonald at all in mass entry GPPs. But Ty, what do you think here? Gutierrez, Freitas?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm not really confident in this fight, but like CG alluded to, De Freitas has pretty good wrestling takedown. But that was also at 145 pounds. He's coming down back to his natural weight at 135 for this fight. So I think he's going to even hold more of a power edge to work those takedowns. I'm kind of leaning towards him. Not really confident enough to make a bet right now at this moment, but I do kind of like the fight goes to decision play. I don't think either one of these guys are really finishers, and so I think that fight goes to decision at minus 170 is a pretty solid play.
All right, so Ian Parker, here's the moment of truth. You ready? If we're talking,
sure.
If we're talking plus EV right now, right? Your boy Yanni is all about the plus EV. If you're talking plus EV, and CG, you tell me if I'm wrong. Right now, I was able to get De Freitas at minus 115 on DraftKings because I'm in Jersey, so I can play on DraftKings. So I believe if the line right now is minus 140, I'm in the plus EV category. So Ian Parker, did I make a good bet or no? What do you think here?
I am just not a guy that plays it based on the lines, unlike your boy Gianni. That's not how this world works with MMA. And, for me, listen, if you want to, what's the way to go about this? And I know we kind of talked about this briefly on Twitter. Here's the deal, man. With MMA, styles make fights. I don't even look at the movement sometimes because to me, it doesn't really make any sense. It doesn't even matter. I know in the professional gambling world, it matters a lot when it comes to the NFL, MLB, NHL, every sport, you name it. This sport's not the one. Here's what I will tell you. Your man Ty just said the right thing. If you want to go if you have to bet this fight, all right, if you're looking for the best value, it going the distance, I think he's got it right. I never look, as much as I joke about Gianni, the guy knows his stuff when it comes to the odds in general with the whole movement, everything. But remember what we spoke about, and whether you want me to get into this now or later is all good. I never base it on the movement ever. I never base it on where the line falls unless you're so sold on an underdog or on a certain type of prop that you're just waiting and waiting. I've been in this sport for a really long time. I managed guys that were champs. I used to fight. I did all that. And I can tell you that when people try to break these fights down, okay, how you guys were going about it just now with comparing their resume, who they fought, comparing their competition, that's the way to go about it. That's smart. That's how you're really going to be able to be different than everyone else that picks fights. So to answer your question, I don't really have an answer to that. Again, this for me is just not a fight that I would bet. I don't see the value either way. It's like choosing between dirt and filth, So if you're trying to find a straight bet on that, I think what Ty said, fight going the distance is your way to go.
Jesus, dirt and filth.
I like that analysis.
I do like that analysis. I'm upset because I'm the one that bet it. But listen, I like it. I think that he's going to be able to get a few takedowns. He's going to be able to steal rounds. And I like the Freitas, and I do like him. I like him by decision, but I think he could get a submission. But for the most part, I think his striking volume and his takedowns are going to win him this fight. And Gutierrez, I know he looked good in round 1 versus Barcelos, but he got hit a lot. And I think Ty was right. Ryan McDonald's bad. And the fact that Gutierrez didn't finish him, I don't think he's really much of a finisher on this level. I think the Freitas is in a great spot to win this fight. So, I'm glad I got that plus EV on the Freitas. Let me go to this next fight. I have a bet on this one too. So again, I'm going to throw it to you guys because I want to hear what you guys have to say about it first. But it's Raulian Paiva and Rogerio Bontorin. CG, let me throw it right to you. What do you think here? We'll go right to the odds and just take a quick look before I throw it to you. But Torin, let me fix these odds here. This is a pick'em. This is a pick'em fight here, CG. So, we're talking about another fight splitting hairs. What do you think here?
So I'll give a slight edge, just slightly, to Bontorin. He has an 86% finish rate, 11 wins by submission. Of Paiva's 18 wins, 12 were by decision. So just a 34% finish rate. With a close line like this, I think you'd be a goddamn fool not to take finishing prowess into consideration as part of your analysis. France took Paiva down twice. If Bontorin gets him down, it could be the end of the fight. I think Bontorin's win against Bibulatov is more impressive than Paiva's loss against France, although he did have an impressive performance in that fight in his UFC debut. Yeah, like I said, I mean, styles make fights. I want to say that Paiva was subbed once before in one of his 2 losses. Bontorin has the better ground game, so I give the edge to him. And I love his line right now, too.
Yeah, I do love his line, and I put my bet on Bontorin, so we're in agreement. So let me throw it to Ian Parker. Ian, agree, disagree, bet or no bet? What do you think?
For me, again, I'm not it's I try to find quality over quantity. I know we're going through every single fight, but I think he just hit it on the head. I think Torin's the play here, 100%. There's really not much more I can add to how you just broke that down. I think you did it perfectly, so I'm going to roll with you on that one.
All right, Ty Slice. Any lean here? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm leaning towards Bontorin like you guys are. I'm not confident enough to make the play on it. Bontorin was really impressive versus Bibulatov. I didn't expect for him to win that fight. That being said, Paiva was impressive versus France also. But kind of like what CG said, the Bontorin had a better showing and walked away with the win versus Bibulatov. So I'm leaning Bontorin. I'm not going to make a play, but this is one of the fights on the card that I'm most excited to see how it plays out. I think it's going to be a good fight.
Yeah, I definitely do agree with you with that one. All right, let's move into the next one. And again, I'm happy that you guys are on Bontorin because I already put a play on him. CJ, are you drinking water? What the hell's wrong with you?
I'm drinking water, man. Yeah, I was just working on the fucking house. A bit dehydrated. I do have some beer over here, but it's going to wait a little bit.
All I'm going to tell you is this podcast is called Brews and Bets. So you guys
you son of a bitch. Fine. Let's grab one.
Just to let you know, Steve sent me a text the other day just asking what was your brand and pictures of some special edition Molsons.
Check it. Labatt Blue Light, or Molson Canadian. What do I do?
Molson Canadian. I'll tell you what. I went right to UFC sponsor. I went right to Modelo. I'm almost done with my first 24 ounce, so I'm going right to the 48 today. I got two of these.
Not nearly as good as this, Steve. Not even close.
No, I'm sure it isn't. So
moving to San Diego, I found out that there's 112 breweries in the San Diego area.
When are CG and I going to San Diego?
Whenever you want to go on a brewery tour, let's do this.
Let's do this for we got to get a San Diego card. Ian Parker, I'm throwing this to you because I kind of have a feeling what CG is going to say, just because we go back and forth with bets all week. So I'm interested to hear your take before you hear your anybody else's take gets into your ears. And it's Tecia Torres and Marina Rodriguez. Strong lean, pick a winner. What do you think here, Parker?
You know what? I think people sometimes don't give Tecia Torres enough credit at the level of competition she's been fighting. And I kind of like her in this situation. I thought the odds were going to be a little bit heavier for her. I like the odds being this low. I just think that, she's had a tough run, man. She's had success, but look who she's fighting. She hasn't had an easy fight once in the UFC. Everyone she's fighting is all the way at the top. She's not getting necessarily dominated. Is her game evolving per se? Her striking maybe is a little bit. It's hard for me to picture Rodriguez being able to win this fight. I just think Ticia's at a different level. again, when it comes out to this part of the division, I say this all the time with the women fighters, and I hate to really categorize it this way, but it's the athleticism. And I just think she's so much more athletic, the higher level of competition. I think she has a strong fight IQ, and I think she'll do what she needs to do to get this done, because I think she knows that she needs this win order to really stay relevant in the UFC.
All right, Ty Slice, I'm interested to hear your take, because, again, I know CG's take, so I'll wait for him to the end. What do you think?
No, I agree. Minus 150 is kind of disrespectful to Tecia. I don't think Rodriguez is ready for this jump up in competition. You went from fighting Jessica Aguilar, which if you fought her 7 years ago, that's impressive. You beat her now, it's not really that impressive. Now you're taking a huge step up versus Tecia, who is, I mean, even though she's on a 3-fight losing streak, she's still top 10 in the division. And she's not an easy out. I think that Tecia is going to keep this at range and pick her apart. And minus 150, I really like her at that price.
So, CG, I'm going to give you some numbers because I know you're a numbers guy. The height advantage goes to Rodriguez 5 inches. The reach advantage goes to Rodriguez 5 inches. And I think that's why I can't pull the trigger on Tecia Torres. So what do you think here?
I think I can change your mind.
Go ahead.
As Ian and Ty already alluded to, look at Torres' last 3 losses. Zhang, who's fighting for the belt, Joanna, and Andrade. Before that, she outstruck Waterson 154-66, landed 95 significant strikes that night in Detroit City. I was at that event. Tecia Torres is freaking strong. I mean, Cardi Hotty's pretty strong, and Torres was just bitch tossing her. I mean, had the big strength advantage. So Marina Rodriguez has 1 UFC win over Jessica Aguilar, who is 1-4 in the UFC. Who has Jessica Aguilar beat? Jody Escobar, who is 0-3 in the UFC, about to go 0-4 against Hannah Cyphers. I already placed a bet on Cyphers in that fight. So Torres was at a 5-inch reach disadvantage against Thug Rose, but Torres still managed to outstrike her in that fight. Rose won that fight because of the grappling and takedowns. So if she can outstrike Thug Rose, I think she can definitely outstrike this fraud. I love Torres in the spot. And like Ty mentioned, I think that line is pretty disrespectful. So I think Ticia's got a lot of great value in the spot.
Wait, did you say fraud or broad?
Fraud. I think she's a fraud.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
A draw with Ronda Marcos, that's pretty impressive. Marcos looks pretty damn good right now. So you know what? Maybe that was a little bit over the top. I think Torres wins here, though. I like her. I think she's very underrated. So,
and that Marcos fight, too, she kind of got herself in a bad spot, like pushed up against the cage in round 1. And it was a 10-8 round 1. And then the reason it was a draw is she basically outstruck her for the next 2 rounds. But everybody's able to outstrike Marco Randos. So, I don't know. Or Randa Marcos, I should say.
So did I convince you or what?
To put in a bet, no.
All right. You don't like money.
No, I just don't trust. I just don't trust. So it's minus 150. I told you I already got 3 plays on this card.
I just told you. So I looked at that reach advantage for Rodriguez, and I was like, shit. And then I started going through all of Torres's fights. And, I mean, she never has the reach advantage at 60 inches. Ever.
Hold on. Rodriguez, her biggest win of her career was versus Aguilar, and she was a minus 350 favorite.
I mean,
guys, I think you're trying to bully me into betting Torres, and I'm just not comfortable.
No, I mean she was fighting the shell of a former top fighter. She's solid talent with good Muay Thai skills.
Completely.
Listen, if he doesn't want to make free money, let him place a bet on another even fight lower in the card, and we will not have to convince him.
All right.
Wait, hold on. On the record, Parker, did you place a bet on this yet?
Oh, yeah. Listen, here's the thing. You got to understand something with Tecia Torres, okay? She never has the reach advantage. She's probably one of the shortest chicks in the division, but you got to understand something. She has fought the highest level of competition that division has to offer. Listen to what your boys are saying, all right? The win came over Jessica Aguilar right now, all right, who is nowhere near who had a competitive fight against Jody Escobar. And even Jody Escobar, I think she even said, I should not have been competitive in this fight. Okay. It comes down to a situation where they try to push some people based on certain fights. Like Randa Marcos, listen, again, another fighter, she just has no output. If she just would wrestle and use her jab to get takedowns, it would have been a different story against Rodriguez. So if you're worried about the reach, don't be. Tecia's learned how to go against that. Listen, all of her training partners have a reach on her. What do you think? She sits there and fights, people smaller than her with less of a reach? No way. She would never have gotten this far. She's always had to fight longer. She actually is a very good range fighter for someone of her size. It's pretty wild. So I think there's a lot of other fights that I wouldn't touch compared to this. I think Tecia Torres is just such a better skilled fighter all the way around that you'd be crazy to not jump on board.
All right, so I'm gonna jump on board. I'm putting $100 on Tecia Torres right now.
Oh my God! I hope she loses. No, I'm kidding.
Hey, you're welcome.
That'll be my fourth bet of the card. All right, let's get into this next fight because I think I'm gonna put a bet on this. I didn't see the line previously, but Ciryl Gane, I believe is how you say his name.
Correct.
And Rafael Pessoa. I think, first of all, someone's going to knock Ciryl Gane into Never Neverland because if he's going to keep his hands that low, somebody's going to knock him out. I just don't think it's going to be Pessoa. So I think that Ciryl Gane is going to finish this fight in the first or the second round. He's 6'5". He's got an 83-inch reach advantage. He's very light on his feet. He bounces around in there. He's fought very low-level competition, but I believe he's going to get the knockout here. And again, I know it's a big line right now, so I'm going to look at the KO TKO prop, and maybe I'll make a play on that. But that's more or less what I'm looking at. Ty Slice, what do you think here? Any plays on this one?
I mean,
Chill him out.
Gaines should knock him out. I really don't have more of an analysis of that. I don't know too much about Pessoa, but Gaines he's kind of a stud.
Yeah, he is very much like a stud.
I don't know if I could take him at his current line at minus 420 unless I put him in a parlay, maybe with the Silva and somebody else. But other than that, I'm probably just going to stay away and watch the knockout.
Yeah, Gane wins inside distance is minus 270. I'm pretty sure if that's the inside the distance prop, it's probably the KO prop because I don't see him getting a submission. So that's probably the same prop. CG, anything here? What do you think?
No, I'm in agreement. I'm hearing other people on their podcast say that they don't think Gane's that good or that impressive. I disagree. I thought his striking looked very quick for a big man, very powerful, very technical. He's 3-0, 2 TKOs, 1 sub. Only made it out of the first round once, so I am a little bit concerned about his cardio. But this Pessoa guy, 9-0, 7 finishes, 6 TKOs, 1 sub, but fought a bunch of bums. So Gane is much more technical, and I think Gane should win in the distance. I think his inside the distance line was minus 275 last I saw, so I'll bet that. I'm going to parlay that. I'm going to parlay the fuck out of that.
These guys were actually supposed to fight in March.
Yeah.
Under the TKO promotion and the event.
They just moved the fight over here, right?
What's that?
They moved the fight to UFC, to this card?
No, they were supposed to fight in March, and the event got canceled. And then Gaines fought 2 months later. And then now they're fighting in this one.
Dude, this guy's going to be good. He's 6'5", like you said, 265, almost a 7-foot reach. He's got potential. He does.
My only worry with him is maybe cardio issues.
Right. Very muscular, lactic acid, for sure.
Mr. Parker,
did anybody mention? Yeah, did anyone mention that he's Francis Ngannou's training partner?
I was wondering about that because
they do train at the gym in France.
So
Okay.
Ngannou said he's the real deal. Obviously, he's not going to be like, "Oh, my training partner sucks." That'd be really funny. Like, guys, I spar against this guy every day, and he's the worst. That would never, they would never do that, but that would be hilarious one time. Yeah, listen, if you're going to do this, if you're going to take this fight, I would say, again, throw someone like Gane in a parlay. The odds are too heavy to go, obviously pick him straight up, although Gianni the Greek likes betting people at minus 600 straight up because that's a safer play. I would definitely throw him in a parlay, and I would leave it at that. Again, hopefully this doesn't go too long. I don't know how his cardio is, but I can only imagine his hands have looked better than what people really give him credit for, and his size, he's just – again, the athleticism for a guy this big, it's starting to get crazy in the heavyweight division with these guys. So I like Gane in the parlay as well.
All right, so I'm gonna take this next fight too, just because I have a pretty good take on it, and then I'll throw some other fights around to you guys for some other breakdowns and picks. This is Enrique Barzola and Bobby Moffitt, and I was pretty pretty impressed with Barzola in all his fights. I know he lost his last time out, but I was pretty disappointed in Moffitt versus Bryce Mitchell. I watched the season of Tough with Bryce Mitchell. I wasn't overly impressed. I know he's the one who more or less like drilled his balls into right on a ladder. Isn't the story or something like that? He like put a drill.
No, he had a drill and he put it through his nutsack.
Correct.
Yeah. So I don't know, but he beat Bobby Moffitt either way. So I mean, Mitchell almost choked him out, and Moffitt's supposed to be the ground stud, and I believe he more or less finished round 3 on Moffitt's back and almost choked him out. With that being said, Barzola, I think he's going to have more volume striking. I think he's going to have more takedowns. He's the one that's going to get the takedowns. My only concern with a bet here or a parlay piece, if anybody wants to do that, is just Moffitt being able to like grab a neck or grabbing a submission on Barzola while he's taking him down. But for the most part, I think Barzola decision on this fight is pretty safe, and I know that's where I'm going with this fight. I haven't bet it yet, but I do like Barzola by decision.
So
Slice, what do you think?
Yeah, don't take Barzola by decision. Just bet him straight up, because right now the decision prop is -130, and right now he's -145. You're not getting enough value on the decision.
Okay.
So I agree with what you're saying. I don't think that he's going to go for many takedowns, if at all. Barzola's a lot better on the feet than Moffitt. I think that he's going to want to keep the distance and pick him apart at range. Moffitt's a lot stronger. So if they get in the clinch, Moffitt's going to get the takedowns. I think Moffitt's better on the ground. So I'm leaning towards Barzola. I didn't like it at the -200 line that it opened, but I actually don't mind it at -145 that it's at right now. I'm going to kind of wait and see how that line moves, if it moves down further. I don't know if I want to take the plunge yet at -145, but I do think that Barzola has a path to victory. My advice to you is just to stay away from that decision prop.
All right, and just bet him straight up, you're saying?
Just bet him straight up if you're gonna back him. There's no need. There's not enough value.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. Mr. Parker, what do you think here, sir?
I agree with Ty Slice here. If you're going to go Barzola, which I do think Barzola gets the win here, there's no reason to go prop. The value is just not there to make it harder on yourself to win. I just say take him straight. I just think there's such a difference in the striking, like way different. And Moffitt's entry into the takedown is a little too predictable. Your comparison with Bryce Mitchell, pretty good. It happened a little further back than I'd like, but it's pretty much all we have to compare it to for the most part. I just think Barzola, again, is just a little bit more evolved overall, and I just think he's a little further ahead. Moffitt's striking just is too sloppy for me. In his ground game, he's supposed to be a stud. I haven't really been impressed or really seen where anyone's giving him that stud credentials yet. So I do like Barzola at the spread where it's at now. Again, to Ty's point, at -200, no way, not even worth it. But right now, I like it.
Who did he have that controversial finish with?
Chaz Kelly.
Chaz Kelly. Okay, that's what
Chaz Kelly, yeah.
That was the
don't even bring it up with Chaz Kelly right now. He'll get real upset.
Well, and again, he said that he was fine and he was under control. But CG, what do you think here? You got a strong take, lean either way?
I like that line, win by decision. Barzola's had 7 UFC fights, and every one of them has gone to decision. So I think it's a really good line. With Moffitt, he has 10 finishes, 9 by submission. He has 5 wins by Darce choke. So I don't know. Lately, I feel like it's Darce choke or bust. And, Ty mentioned it. I think Barzola does have the better striking, but I think you have to mix in the takedowns, and Ian alluded to it too. Barzola doesn't have the best takedown entries. So if you can use that striking, which looks a little bit improved in this fight against Aguilar, I think he really came out in that third round in that fight. If he can, strike to work in his entries and take Moffitt down, like you said, Steve, Moffitt looked like shit in that last fight against Bryce Mitchell. You know what I mean? Moffitt had 4 takedowns and then kept on getting swept, kept on losing top control position. I liked him a lot going into that fight, but watching that, it was just frustrating. Just a lot of blunders, a lot of mental errors, lack of discipline. So I think Barzola should win the fight, and if he wins the fight, he's not going to knock anybody out. He's not going to sub anybody. He's going to win by decision. So,
did we lose CG? CG's frozen up here.
Oh, sorry about that. No, it's
Back.
Barzola opened up minus 230. Now he's minus 145. So we got that plus EV, right?
That if you bet it at minus 130, then you have the plus EV. And Mr. Parker, am I correct?
Yes.
He hates that. I love it. All right, Ty Slice. I'm throwing this next one to you, Ian. I'm gonna let you unwind. I promise I'll let you do it. Ty Slice. I'm gonna throw this next one to you because earlier on the card we had Marina Rodriguez, and I know that's although CG wasn't really in agreement with her. She had the Muay Thai striking and clinching. But right now we have Rodolfo Vieira, and I know you roll BJJ. So is he going to be able to finish Oscar Piechota? What do you think here, Ty Slice?
All right, so Vieira is a stud on the ground. He's probably one of the better jiu-jitsu guys to come in, at least at the higher weights. He might be the best ever to come in in the UFC. If this goes to the ground, it's going to be over. It's going to be a fun grappling match for as long as Piechota can hang, and then Vieira is going to tap him. If he can't get the takedown, I expect Piechota to knock him out. This fight will not go to a decision one way or another. Minus 380, I don't really love it, but I see that this is either going to be a knockout or a submission in the first round.
I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Vieira and Mearshart. How much better is Vieira's BJJ than Mearshart?
Oh, he's a lot better. Vieira is one of the best heavyweights of all time in jiu-jitsu.
So you're saying, like, for example, Piechota was able to hang with Mearshart. If he gets him down on the ground once, it's over.
Piechota is not terrible on the ground. I think that he might be able to hang for a minute, but ultimately Vieira is going to find a way to get him.
Okay, because I was a little impressed with Piechota.
He's good. I think he's under Drysdale for jiu-jitsu. So, I mean, he's definitely solid. He knows what he's doing. But like Cormier said with wrestling, there's levels to this.
Yeah.
He's on a whole new level. He's world-class, whereas Piechota is a few steps below.
Yeah, unfortunately, Volkan Oezdemir knows what the level is.
Yeah, but no. So if this goes to the ground, I think it's only a matter of time before Vieira gets him with something. He's really swift at taking the back and getting the rear naked choke in. I know it's basic, but he has good setups for it. That's how I think he's going to finish the fight. But my only concern with backing him at a higher price is if Piechota could stuff the takedown, Vieira is going to be in trouble on the feet. And so that's kind of preventing me from going all in on Vieira. But I think that he is the play.
All right. Mr. Parker, I feel like every time I look at your stream, you're walking to another room in the house. I don't know what the hell you're doing there.
Hey, he's got a really nice house. You notice that?
He's got a great house. He's like,
look at that place, man.
Living room, cleaning the kitchen, putting dishes away.
You guys got crown molding? Jesus.
It is. You want to do a little MMA Cribs edition real quick?
Look at that.
MMA Cribs. Why have we not watched an event at your house? So let us know.
You want to laugh?
Vieira.
How about a house in a house?
I was wondering what the hell that was.
Is that for the dog or for the baby?
My kid. For my kids.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's sweet.
Well, house in a house.
So go ahead, bro.
No, So, man, with guys this big, sometimes it's really tricky, and I think Ty kind of hit everything. He kind of hit every point. It's hard to really. I don't want to fill any gaps that were already filled. I think, man, and I fucking hate props, but not going the distance is definitely the safest play here. When it comes down to the heavyweights, though, I usually lean toward the jiu-jitsu and the grappler and the wrestler. Only reason why I say that is because everyone's got the power to strike when you're a heavyweight. Anyone can land. But you see such a difference in the jiu-jitsu, and some of these guys that are jiu-jitsu heavy. I mean, look at Alexey Olnik. Guy pretty much lived off his back off that fucking crazy choke. But otherwise, when he stands, he's, not really UFC caliber with his striking. So I think you go with the jiu-jitsu guy here if you're going to make a play. I don't know about taking him straight up. And I do you got me convinced now, Ty, to possibly do my first prop on the whole year, not going the distance. So that's how I would roll.
Yeah, I mean, some sites let you parlay it. I mean, it's not a terrible parlay piece to put in with De Silva earlier on the card.
In Jersey on DraftKings, you can parlay it. So if you guys want any action, just let me know. But let's throw it to CG. Let's throw it to CG, the parlay king. What is going on right now, sir? What do you think here?
You know what? These guys did a great job breaking down this fight. I don't have too much more to add, but I think it's noteworthy that Pachota was taken down by Gerald Meerschaert 3 times. If Meerschaert can take him down 3 times, then Vieira can definitely get him to the mat. The most probable outcome has to be Vieira by submission. Ty already mentioned it. Vieira is as top-notch as Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner as you get. He's that good. If he gets Pachota to the ground, it's going to be like a hot knife through butter. His transitions are remarkable. Everything he does is precise and technical. Pachota's good. I don't know what Pachota is. He might even be a brown belt, but
I think he's a black belt under Drysdale.
Oh, is he? Yeah, but Vieira's just on a completely different level. He's one of the best in the world. And, you know, if the fight remains standing, Pachota wins. He's the better striker. I just don't think it will. I think Vieira gets him down, and once he does, it'll be over soon after. Vieira by submission.
All right, Ian, did we lose you?
No, I'm here.
Oh, you're here. You're all right. The video's back.
I'm good.
So, Ian, I was gonna throw this next fight to you. This is Volkan Oezdemir and Ilir Latifi. I know you had a little bit of a take on it. You told me about it earlier. What do you think?
So we actually, when they were supposed to fight originally, we did this on the Anakin Florian podcast, me and Kenny, and we both were leaning towards Volkan Oezdemir. Here's what I will tell you. Latifi's gas tank, no bueno. His wrestling, obviously, his throws are crazy. He's got crazy power. Ozdemir's just fought the better level of competition. I think Volkan is going to really understand he's very good at using his range, you know, and I think his cardio, although it's not amazing, you saw the fight with Anthony Smith. He really was, I thought, should have won that fight. You know, look, I thought he beat Dominic Reyes as well. I think this is a fight because there's just no one really there ranked that makes sense for him to fight in the division to get him back. So I think he definitely has the better striking. I think he's got good enough takedown defense to be able to stop the takedown. And I just think he's going to pick him apart at range. You know, Latifi, as much as everyone loves him, he's a nice guy. We all like to see these pictures of him riding his shirt was on a horse, whatever the fuck that was, which was hilarious. But, you know, at the end of the day, I just think Oezdemir at this line, when it first came out, I thought he was going to be minus 195 at least, just based on who he's fought so close in his career. So I do like Volkan Oezdemir in this fight. I do. I'm sure one of you guys is going to probably say inside the distance. That wouldn't surprise me as well. But I'll leave it to the prop professionals because that's just not my area.
All right, CG. What is CG doing right now? Is that another beer coming up?
Hey, don't worry about what I'm doing.
You know what? I got to worry about it because I'm about to throw it to you. I didn't know if you needed time because Ty Slice got up and ran. So, CG, what do you think here? Volkan or Ilir?
I'm in agreement with Ian. I think Oezdemir wins this fight just based on his volume. He lands almost 5 strikes per minute. Latifi lands 2.3, lands, you know, almost 2 takedowns per fight. Latifi looked terrible in his last fight against Corey Anderson. He was 0 for 4 on takedown attempts. He only landed 33 strikes. Like Ian said, he gasses so easily. He's 36 years old. Yanni mentioned something last week. He said fighters in their 20s, on average, beat fighters in their 30s. Let's give it a shot. I like Oezdemir in this fight. I don't feel comfortable enough to bet him inside the distance. Latifi's a tough guy. I think Oezdemir probably wins a volume striking-based decision. That's my guess. And I was able to get him yesterday at minus 135. I actually have a lot of money on Oezdemir. Hopefully he can defend the takedowns. He does have 75% takedown defense. But when you look at the guys that overstate that metric for Oezdemir, it's DC, one of the best wrestlers in the game. Then Smith took him down late in that fight after Oezdemir was already gassed out. And another thing that I have to bring up, okay, look at his 3 losses in the UFC. He lost to DC, heavyweight champ of the world, Anthony Smith, ranked number 2, and Reyes, ranked number 4. And I agree with Ian. I thought he won that fight. So I think there's a lot of good data, a lot of good numbers pointing to Oezdemir.
Yeah, and I'll go a step further with Reyes, because I actually went back and watched the Reyes fight. And what I did is I just scored it myself, because a lot of people said that Oezdemir won the fight. And I when I was watching it, I know I was at my aunt's house, we were at a party, but I was watching the fight on my phone, and I thought Oezdemir won the fight. So I was shocked. So the way that the scoring went in that fight, everybody scored the fight for Reyes in round 3. The issue was rounds 1 and 2. Two of the judges gave it, right? Two of the judges gave it to Oezdemir in round 1, and I believe 2 of the judges gave it to Reyes in round 2. And I thought that Oezdemir won rounds 1 and rounds 2. That's where it was. So literally, you had one judge in each round where if it would have went one way or the other, Oezdemir very easily could have won that fight. And I thought that was the most impressive Oezdemir that we've seen so far. A couple of those shots where he beat guys real early in the fight, you didn't see his skills come out. In this fight against Reyes, you saw the kicks, you saw the big right hand, you saw him stuff somewhat of a takedown or the clinch. He did take a few shots from Reyes, but again, Reyes is good. He's got a lot of size. He's actually bigger than Volk. I was looking for a reason not to bet Volk, but I can't find it. So I like him a lot. I know Latifi gasses. And a lot of what Latifi does are explosive movements. He explodes into closing the distance, and explodes into a kick, explodes into a big right hand or a big left hand. I mean, for the most part, I think he needs, what can Latifi do to beat up Volk? I think he needs to beat up that lead foot. I think he can use those low kicks to beat up the lead foot. But other than that, other than a puncher's chance, I think this is Volkan's fight to win. So I think the minus 140 or minus 135, which is what CG had mentioned he got it at, I think that's a great line for this fight. So I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna bet it. I guess that'll be my 5th bet for this card, but it is what it is. You guys are making me bet Tecia Torres, so I'm putting $100 on that. All right. So Ty Slice is not here right now. CG, I'm going to throw this next fight to you.
Real quick, before we move on, if you don't mind. So isn't there some kind of narrative for this fight? Oezdemir had visa issues, right? And he's not able to, because I know he trained with Henry Hooft, Hard Knocks 365 in Fort Lauderdale. So he's no longer able to train there. So somebody was saying he's at Tiger Muay Thai. Can anybody elaborate on that? He's currently not allowed to fight in America, right?
That I'm not sure. I don't know if he's not allowed to fight or he just can't get his visa to America, which I guess could mean he's not allowed to fight. But
right, yeah.
I guess that's what it. Ian, you got anything to add with that? Because I'm not sure.
No, what's funny too is I know a lot of guys who train at 365, so I haven't heard. I really didn't dive into it much. Here's what I will tell you though: I don't think it's really going to matter where he trains for this fight. But you bringing it up, I'm not knocking that, so don't take that the wrong way. I just think that somebody with the way he fights, his style at this point, the only way he evolves is by, again, to your point, with showing us more than just a one knockout power. Like that's the thing with the Reyes fight, right? We got to see a little bit of everything finally. I think wherever he goes, wherever he's allowed to train, I mean, if he's not allowed in the country, then what can he do? But, again, I just I can't confirm that either which way, but I don't think it's going to matter. I just think he wins this fight. I can't believe the odds are this low, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
something's up. That's weird.
The reason I bring it up is because, I mean, he's going against a wrestler, so it would benefit him to train with guys like Kamaru Usman and everybody else, all the other wrestlers there at 365. Sure. Now he's going to Thailand where he's pretty much only going to be working on his striking. That concerns me a little bit because that's Latifi's one path to victory is wrestling. So I still like him. Not enough to change my mind, but just a narrative I thought that was worth bringing up.
All right. And again, I'm on Volks for a couple issues. CG, I'm going to throw this next fight to you because I don't know what to make of this fight. And this is Humberto Bandeira, who I don't think is very good. But then when I look at Luis Eduardo Garagori, I believe is his name, I don't think he's very good either. Yeah. So Garagori is 5'11". Both of these guys are 5'11", which I don't know if that size is right. This is on UFCstats.com. I think Bandeira is going to be a little bit bigger. But again, if you look at Bandeira's fight against Arnett, I mean, he gassed so bad. If you look at round one, he had a pretty good round one, which again, maybe he finishes Garagori in round one and we all cash bets if we place any of them. But in round two, he was 7 of 15 on strikes. And round three, he was 3 of 22 on strikes. If you gas that bad, I don't know how you're going to win a fight. And I don't know how good this guy is, but CG, any hot takes on this? What do you think?
You just said it. I cannot bet on a fighter, not to mention a 145er that gassed after 3.5 minutes. No way in hell would I ever bet on Bandonay. I don't think he can beat most guys on the regional scene. He was grinded out by Austin Arnett. I'm pretty sure that's Austin Arnett's only UFC win. Austin Arnett's not a great fighter. Tough kid for sure, not a great fighter. I had Arnett on DraftKings, and I was loving it. And at the end of the first round, I'm like, Bandonay's not gassed. There's no way he's gassed. He's a featherweight, But sure shit he was. Arnett took advantage of it. I like Garagori. 11-0, 4 KOs, 5 subs. I'm in agreement with you. I'm not overwhelmed by his skill set. But, if he can go into round 2 with the gas tank, if he can get Bandonay to the ground, Bandonay's been subbed 4 times. So there's a bona fide, obvious path to victory right there. Yeah, I like Garagori inside the distance. The only reason Arnett didn't finish that fight is because he doesn't have a really good ground game. Anybody else probably would have finished him, but let's be honest. Austin Arnett and Bandonay, those aren't UFC caliber fighters. So I like Garagori. I like him on DraftKings too. I can't imagine he's going to be highly owned. So yeah, give me him.
Yeah, and I don't know what his price is on DraftKings right now, but this is more or less a pick on me and Parker. What do you think here, sir?
You know what? I think you both already said it. There's really not much to add to that. Garagori is the way to go here if you're going to play this. His opponent I hate saying that guys aren't really deserving of UFC, but to your point, in that weight class, I've never seen anyone gas so quickly. It's really disheartening. It's really bizarre to see that. You're known for your gas tank when you're in those lighter weight classes. So I'm rolling with you guys on that one. Again, there's not much to add to that, but man, can you guys, a guy at that low weight gassing in general, it blows my mind. It ruins it for me a little bit, but yeah.
That may have been the worst gas job I've ever seen. I've never seen anything like that.
Ever.
T. Edwards.
Against
against Bermudez, right? Or against pretty much everybody he fights.
Yeah, Don Madge put him into that head kick and what he did to him in round 1.
Yeah.
He actually lasted as long as he did with.
Yeah, I guess T. Edwards did go the distance with Bermudez, but he gassed quickly.
So let's move on to this next fight. Mr. Parker, I'm going to send it right back to you. And this is more or less, to me, this is the last fight that we're really talking about. I mean, if anybody's picking Liz Carmouche, by all means, you made an island there with that one. But Vicente Luque and Mike Perry, I mean, this is the people's – I'm going to say this is the people's main event on this card, right? We've been saying that for the last few cards. We've had some big fights that haven't been the main event or co-main event. We've called it the people's main event. I think this is the fight that everybody really wants to see. CG, I know, thinks this is going to finish. Mike Perry doesn't often finish on this level, right? In his last 5 fights, I think 4 of them went to decision. But Ian Parker, what are you thinking here? Vicente Luque, Mike Perry. The only thing I'm going to say before you break this fight down is if you go back to that Brian Barberena fight, it was a war. And after that fight, Barberena lost the next fight as a big favorite because he took a lot of shots.
To Randy Brown. Yep.
Luque took a lot of shots in that last fight. So, Ian Parker, what do you think here, sir?
So here's what I will tell you. In the Barberena-Luque fight, he was losing. Luque was definitely losing. He got lucky at the end. He hung in there, hung tough, but he fought really stupid. A guy with that good of jiu-jitsu needs to use his striking 7 takedowns and not have an ego to show the world that he can strike, right? It's just not smart, and he paid. He took a lot of damage. When Barberena fought Randy Brown on the Anakin Florian podcast, I took Randy Brown. Listen, Brown was beating Nico Price till he got that really unfortunate hammer fist from down below. That was really crazy too. Here's my thing here. This is where betting strategy really comes into play. I am not going to place a bet until 5 minutes before that fight. Here's my reasoning, okay? Number one, I kind of like Mike Perry, what he's doing right now with his life, the way he's training. He's spending a lot of time with Jacare. He's spending a lot of time with a lot of guys on the ground. He can strike, man. He can hit, and he can take a punch. You know, Luque, if he can't get Perry to the ground, whose striking is really better? I give Perry a solid chance in that situation, right? So here's what I would tell bettors in general. If you're up money, I would roll the dice on Mike Perry. If you want to play it safe, then you're going to say that I would say go with Luque, because I'm thinking that that his coach has got to tell him, listen, this fight, we don't need to show the world that we can strike. We need to submit Mike Perry because he's not as good in jiu-jitsu. However, I don't know if you guys heard the story with Mike Perry with Kenny Florian's jiu-jitsu competition in Orlando, and you guys hear about that by any chance?
No.
I heard that he grappled.
Okay.
I didn't hear the story about it.
Dude, it was like 2 weeks ago. Kenny calls me and goes, 2 hours before we didn't have a guy, so they called Mike Perry. Perry shows up in a gi and ends up winning against a guy that he had no business beating in a grappling competition on 2 hours notice or something like that. All right. So what that shows me, not that this guy necessarily who he was going against is of Luque's level jiu-jitsu, but it shows me that he's taken the job seriously. His personality is obviously something that we all think is hilarious. You know, he's just a dancing, he's just an entertainer, but the dude can fight, and he's actually working all of his skills. So for me, if I'm up going into that fight, I am going to take a chance on Mike Perry. And I'm not going to say because he's the underdog here. I'm just looking at this straight up. I'm not confident that Luque, after that Barberena fight, that the damage doesn't mean anything. There was a lot of damage. That takes a toll on guys, all right? I have not liked the way he's fought in general. His striking has come a long way, but sometimes these jiu-jitsu guys, I call it George Gurgel syndrome. You know, you're one of the better jiu-jitsu guys in the world, yet you get a couple of knockouts, and all of a sudden you forget what got you there. It doesn't mean that you're boring anymore. It just means, listen, if your striking's evolving, getting closer to the jiu-jitsu game, use it to set up what you're good at. I think we all know here that with Luque, if he stands here and trades, he's giving himself a good chance of getting knocked out for no reason, when if he takes his fight to the ground, it's like night and day. So be careful when betting this fight, in my opinion. You know, this may be one where you can sit back and enjoy whatever beer, Modelo or Labatt Blue, whatever you guys are chilling on right now, and just have a good time watching this fight. But for me, if I'm up, I'm going to roll with Mike Perry and take a shot.
Mr. Parker is the official sponsor of the UFC, sir.
Wow.
I heard
What
they're
a
sponsoring
breakdown.
this show, right? There you go.
Yeah,
Not bad, right?
We have to have Ian on the show more often.
Listen, he's invited back whenever he wants to. He knows that. All I can tell you is this, before I throw it. Go ahead, Ian. I'm sorry. You're going to say something.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
CG, the only thing that I would add is what Ian is saying is exactly what I fear. I fear that Vicente Luque is not going to take it to the ground. Now, I didn't know that narrative about Mike Perry, but I just fear that Luque isn't going to take it to the ground because he wants to strike and he thinks that he can win this fight on the feet. My other concern is, as Ian also said, and I said before, against Barberena, he took a lot of damage. He took a lot of strikes, a lot of body shots, a lot of elbows. And again, Mike Perry's good with his elbows. If you go back to that fight, round 2 and round 3, Barberena hit Luque with a bunch of elbows in the clinch. So again, I know Luque's a Jersey guy. I know he's Brazilian, but he lives in New Jersey. He trains in New Jersey, and then I think he does a little bit of his camp outside of Jersey. But for the most part, I can't bet this fight. I know a lot of people are throwing Luque in straight bets and in parlays. I just can't do it, CG. So what do you think here?
Honestly, I agree with just about everything that Ian said. Luque hasn't scored a takedown since March of 2017 against Leon Edwards. This is a dangerous fight for Luque if he keeps it standing. So Luque is the more technical striker, but Perry's speed and power are comparable. Luque was dropped against Brian Barberena. So if he makes this a slugfest with Mike Perry, it could be a massive mistake. And I think that's what's going to happen. If Luque takes it to the ground and, works the subs, then that's his path to victory. That's the path of least resistance. And that doesn't make you a pussy. That makes you efficient. That's what he should do. I don't think he's going to do it. So the lines that I like, and, actually, I made a business proposal to you the other day about coupling this fight to end inside the distance with another fight that's going to happen next week, if you still want to do it. But I also I'm going to make a small play on Perry inside the distance. Why the hell not? Quarter unit, can't hurt. I'm just not going to bet Luque on that line when I don't trust his fight IQ. I mean, I think Luque has a championship level skill set between his striking and his ground game. He's not quite there yet. He's almost there. He needs to prove that he has a championship level fight IQ, and we'll find out on Saturday. But if I'm going to make a play, I like Perry at dog odds, knowing that it's probably going to be a slugfest.
All right, we got CG Analytics hot take up on the screen right now, and I think that's what it is.
I never said Perry was going to win. Don't put words in my mouth. I said it's going to be a slugfest like I think it is. Luque could very well get dropped like he did against Marina.
All right. Ty Slice, I'll throw it to you. It seems like everybody is a little bit afraid of betting Luque. I know I am. What Ian said, and I think that's what CG is saying too. If there's Ian's walking through the house again, he's definitely doing something.
Oh, he's just showing off now.
Yeah, he's got a house within a house.
Yeah.
Everyone's talking about if they're up later, and Ian said that before, he may throw in a bet on Mike Perry. Are you in agreement? What do you think here, Ty?
Well, so since I missed the breakdown of the last two fights, I kind of want to talk about that real quick also. I really like Badene in his fight. I don't mind live betting him late in the fight because Grigori has no cardio. So my issue with the Perry and Luque fight is I get what everybody's saying, but I don't really know if Perry has that one-punch knockout type power. I know it seems like he does. I don't think he's the type of guy that can knock Luque out. So I'm not too concerned with that. I actually think Luque is going to light him up. Will he finish Perry? I'm not really sure on that either. I actually like the fight goes to decision at plus 175. I know everybody thinks that this is going to be fireworks and somebody's going out. I don't see it that way. I see that, yeah, they are going to brawl it out, but Perry has a tough chin, and I don't think that Perry has the one-punch knockout power to knock Luque out.
Listen, we have this new streaming service, and I'm having a ball just going back and forth with all these different videos and layouts and everything else. So that's a Ty Slice hot take. Fight goes to decision plus 175. I mean, for the most part, Ty, I think everybody disagrees with you with Badene. I think we're all scared to bet that and may even bet Garagori. Just thinking that Badene may not have the cardio, and you're saying Garagori does.
No, it's the other way around. Garagori has zero cardio.
I'm not saying Garagori has the cardio, but Badene did gas bad against Arnett.
Gassed badly.
Yeah.
Badly.
I mean, he probably took Arnett lightly. Everybody thinks he sucks, but yeah.
I just think there's so much uncertainty there. I'm staying away. And again, right now, I think there's a lot of uncertainty with Luque and Perry right now that I'm going to stay away from that too. Plus, you guys made me bet Tecia Torres. I got to put that bet.
What's the uncertainty?
The uncertainty is it's going to play out on the feet and it's not going to go to the ground. And I think that it's a lot closer on the feet. And Perry can take a punch and he can give a punch. That's the uncertainty with me.
Yeah, but so we think that Perry can give a punch. I think that early in his UFC career, he kind of got the notion that he's a hard hitter. When in the last 7 fights has he knocked somebody down?
Can I jump in for a sec?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ian.
So here's the thing, Ty, I don't think actually any of us were really – I know you jumped in a little bit late, especially because I gave a little bit of a breakdown. I'm not sitting here saying that Perry is going to knock out Luque. That wasn't giving my reasoning. What I'm pretty much saying is between Luque's damage, we can even put that to the side. I think his fight IQ is absolutely atrocious. You know, if he makes this a stand-up battle, I think Perry can fight. He can stand up. You know, that's where he lives. He's comfortable. He's been working on the jiu-jitsu game. My problem with Luque is that, and I call it George Gurgel syndrome. I'm going to repeat that. I kind of want that to be lit up on the screen. George Gurgel syndrome. You know, guys that are just so good at jiu-jitsu and what got them here, they get a few knockouts, they evolve with their striking, they kind of just forget and they stay there. With Luque, if he sets up his striking and gets Perry to the ground, he's got a clear advantage there. He may not sub Perry, but he will be able to listen. He's got to not take a lot of damage in this fight also to continue on with his career. He can't have brawls like that with Barberena. You know, I'm not worried about Barberena dropping him because, look, any of these guys wearing these, you know, baby gloves can knock out anyone, drop anyone. I just think that what he's doing is he's really giving Perry a higher chance to win by letting this fight stay standing. So I don't disagree with you. I'm not saying that Perry is a knockout artist per se. Yes, earlier in his career, the Jake Ellenberger elbow, all that good stuff. But Luque is just showing us too many times that he's playing down to his competition instead of showing everyone why, to CG's point, that he has a skill set of a potential champion. That's kind of what we were discussing. I hear what you're saying. I don't disagree with you either. I don't see a knockout necessarily on either end. I just think that if this fight stays on the feet, it's way closer than what the odds are showing.
Okay, yeah, that's fair enough.
Plus, he's from Flint, Michigan, too. So,
You know what that means?
Flint town.
He drinks muddy water.
Oh.
I mean, that's pretty much what it says. All right, so let's finish this off. Ty Slice, since you missed a couple breakdowns, let me give you the main event. I'm pretty sure we're all going to be in agreement. It's just a matter of how it's going to finish, and that's Valentina Shevchenko and Liz Carmouche. So, Ty Slice, do the honors. What do you think, sir?
Yeah, I think that Shevchenko is going to dominate. She's going to pick her apart. She could even mix in the takedowns. She could really do whatever she wants in this fight. I think Carmouche is tough. I don't know if she's going to finish her. I'm kind of leaning at this moment to Shevchenko winning a decision. At the minus 1,200, 1,250 price, I'm not going to touch it. Fight goes to decision is plus 105. And Shevchenko to win by decision is plus 134. I don't really love either of those. Just because it's a 5-round fight, Shevchenko does have the tools. I personally think it's going to be a decision. I'm not willing to put any money on it. Too much in a 5-round fight when Shevchenko is so dangerous.
Yeah, I agree with you, and that's why I'm not even betting this. Again, I got bullied into betting like 5 different fights already. Ian Parker, you're a guest for the week. What do you think here? Anything crazy for this main event?
I just want to acknowledge a narrative that they brought up when they decided that this fight was going to be a real fight, was that Carmouche beat Shevchenko 7 years ago on the regional circuit, and we're finally getting the rematch we all want and deserve here. It's hilarious. Didn't even know that this fight was even going to happen. This to me is ridiculous of a main event. I don't care where it is. I think it's actually disrespectful to Shevchenko, and it's nothing against Liz Carmouche. Just in my opinion, I just want to see her fight Amanda Nunes every other week. You know, she's a fighter that's continuously evolving. This is going to be pure dominance. I'm surprised she's only minus 1,250. So yeah, anyone that wants to roll on Carmouche, just throw your money in the toilet. Valentina is going to win this. I actually do think she's going to finish this fight. I wouldn't be surprised, but just it's not even worth the time. It's just, to me, it's a crazy fight. It just shows the lack of depth in the division as well. And I think Liz is a good fighter. I don't think she's bad. It's just, you know, I don't even know who she beat to get a title shot that was even worthy of it. But whatever it is, at least we get to see Valentina fight, and we'll just go from there.
Yeah,
you're showing me those numbers like I'm going to acknowledge it with this Shevchenko Carmouche fight. What do you think? You got Gianni on the show, bro? What is this?
listen, I know you don't like props. But
No.
Shevchenko inside the distance minus 145.
Wow.
Listen, when the opportunity presents itself, it's worth it. To me, that makes a lot of sense. I would roll with that.
Ian, I know you don't watch our show every single week, but do you know that CG is the parlay king?
Listen, if I didn't know it, I saw the bottom left corner with the, 6 exclamation points. And now that I know that, CG and I are going to have to talk more often because I'm all about the parlays. I think you get your most value when you do the parlays, especially with the heavy favorites. Try and bring the odds down to at least make it worthwhile. So, listen, we could be the team parlay king. I'm all for it. I'm trying to count how many exclamation points. I think I was right. I think it was 6. So,
it was close.
The only thing is I don't usually parlay. Was I close?
It's 5, right? I think it's 5. It's close.
Yeah, I think it's 5.
I didn't hear that. It came out, but yeah, it's 5. I was close. All right, fair enough.
Well, CG's already going to put fight not going to be a draw for minus 2,300.
I find that value, baby.
Let's get a CG hot take. Let's go.
Oh, man. I'm not betting this fight. I'm just not. Valentina's going to win. Then she's probably going to fight, I don't know, maybe Chukagian next. I don't know. This division sucks, let's be honest. The only fight that I'm somewhat excited to see is her and Andrea Lee just because she's hot as shit. So until that happens, Shevchenko.
Just put Shevchenko in 100% of your DraftKings lineups and build around it.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad play at all.
What is she, 9,500?
I think 94? 96.
96.
I was gonna say 96 makes sense. 94 is like you're saving money there.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I can see her going over 100 even in the decision.
So we are done with the breakdown. And we only had Ian Parker for an hour. He stayed on an extra 15 minutes. But I want to give Ian a chance to talk about Yanni, what Yanni's been putting out on Twitter. Again, I just want you to know that Yanni was very nice to CG and myself. And we're probably going to be going – CG, should we tell him? We're probably going to UFC 244 in Madison Square Garden. So Ian will extend the invite if you're going to the event. You can sit with us if you'd like. We can talk shit the entire card if you want. Look ahead. Let us know what you think.
Here's man, it just I kind of feel bad for the guy. I think he's in a really difficult spot. I think this is just man, look, he's a professional sports bettor. He's a professional gambler. Kudos, he's made his life on it. I've heard he's got kicked out of casinos for counting cards. Cool. That's all good. MMA is a different world. You can't go on the Contender Series. You can't go out and use the UFC platforms and every week keep telling us the sharps do this, the sharps do that. Listen, it shows that his lack of MMA knowledge is never a reason why he's betting other than the line moved here and the line moved there. He talks about, 9 out of every 12 favorites win the first fight of the card. Dude, that's garbage. Listen, if you're going to go out there and you're going to put bets for people, and again, he got the job. It is what it is. It's just, think about how we go around the table here, right? There was 4 of us on the show. We're giving legitimate breakdowns. CG's doing numbers. Ty's giving breakdowns on guys' cardio. There's never a mention about any of that stuff. And it drives me fucking crazy because people are actually listening to this guy thinking they're getting free money based on how many followers he has on Twitter. I'm not saying he doesn't know football. I'm not saying he doesn't know basketball, but MMA, he's got no business giving these picks. And from what I heard, a rumor that he buys picks actually from a capper, and then he goes on there and does this because, look, you guys know, I know we go over every fight on this show so far, obviously the one time I'm on it. And that's cool for content. Everyone shows their knowledge. You guys are very well advised in the sport, and it's honestly very refreshing to come on a show like this and be able to have a genuine conversation with guys that know the sport in itself. So kudos to you guys. Honestly, phenomenal show. You'll have a forever fan of me, and I'll come on whenever you guys want me to, But for someone like him, if he's going to be on this huge platform, right, Instagram, Twitter, for the UFC, and people are really – don't give them bullshit. Do your homework, man. I don't care if you have to go study Sherdog. It's just so obvious and apparent he knows nothing about the sport, especially on the bets that he's picking, the fight that he's picking. Some of them are stayaways. Like last week, the Pudilova versus Shevchenko fight. Why did he think plus 125 was so much value in Pudilova when I thought there was more value in Shevchenko at minus 145? He just doesn't even dive into that stuff. And Giles, he's been a year and a half off. So he's had time to work on his game. Anyone who was able to break down that fight said if this fight goes to the ground, that's where GM3 is going to, by chance, get a sub. And again, that's a fight that I wouldn't even have touched, and I didn't touch for the obvious reason of there's so much value in other areas. So then he goes on tonight, and he chooses the Jay Perrin over Dwight Clark because he went from minus 110 to minus 160 instead of talking about their styles. And then, of course, to save his ass, he takes Herbert Burns minus 600 and says he got it at minus 400. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to freaking bet on a guy that's minus $600 and saying that was good value. I mean,
did he have Morales tonight?
I'm sorry?
Did he have Morales tonight over Park in the main event?
No. He had Jay Perrin and Gilbert Burns' brother. So he lost the first one, which and then he took a guy at minus 600, and that's what he told people. Dude, honestly, I almost get a kick out of all the comments after he goes on there and he does this thing because, and that's my thing, man. Like, I hate to bust the guy's balls, but when you're in a power position with such a huge company, at least, be respectful to the sport. You know, I swear, like when you guys brought him on the show, I want to go back and listen to that episode. I wanted him to challenge either one of you guys in a fucking debate on any fight that's not a headliner or a co-main. Like, put him on the Uruguay card right now. You tell me he knows any of these guys? No chance. And that's the issue I have when you have a guy who's representing the UFC as your new betting guide. That, to me, is cringe, bro. That is fucking Cejudo, Colby Covington, fucking cringeworthy. You know, I think he just, in every other sport, cool. If you're going to jump into MMA, do your fucking homework and give the people something to really jump on, because this sport is not hard to bet on, okay? You just have to really know the sport in and out.
I mean, he could just follow me on Twitter and I can give him all the plays. I mean,
Totally.
I hit Morales at plus 205 tonight over Park, and Park was highly touted. I mean,
I took Ray. I took the Italian chick, and that fight was sloppy as could be. That was just, you know, look, it's just like, but that's my point though, right? You guys have your reasons why. You're not just flipping a coin and doing it. He's not giving any reasons why. Even when he posts on Twitter, he just says inside the distance, does his prop bets, and it drives me crazy because people actually look to him. One of you three should be on that show over him. I should be on that show over him. But you know what? It's who they chose. Until he goes, 0-30, that's what they're going to stick with. I just hope people really take the time. If they want to follow people and tell people, do your research, people. There's a lot of good cappers out there that know their shit.
Ty Slice, I got about 40 ounces of beer in me, so I want to get your take on Yanni, and then CJ, I'll throw it to you. So what do you think?
I mean, I have no comment on it. I mean, I know I asked you before we went on the show what's up with all the hate. Like, what? I don't know anything about the dude. I just know that when I watch the Contender Series, I don't really pay attention to his analysis much because he doesn't really give any. And I mean, like Ian said, a lot of the guys that he gives are the higher priced guys. So, I mean, it's not really a hot take. And I did hear that he bought bets from people. If he wants to hit me up, I'll sell him all my bets. Like,
all of them. 50% off.
And I'll give him the reasons why so he could look intelligent. But, I mean, I don't really have an opinion on it. My life's been pretty hectic over the last couple of weeks, so I didn't even get to watch a lot of the show last week. I just seen that Steve looked like a Smurf. I thought you turned yourself blue because you were missing me on the show, but I mean I don't really have an opinion on it. I don't really care for him being on the show on the Contender Series. It seems kind of amateurish. I don't really have much else on that.
Well, I'll tell you what I think, and then I'll throw it to CG. First of all, Yanni was as nice as could possibly be last week. He's as nice as could possibly be in text. And I think he's pretty honest in the fact that he's not an MMA bettor. He's not an MMA I don't want to say he's not an MMA fan, but he's not a huge fan. He doesn't do the research. You know what I'm saying? And again,
no.
Well, obviously that's pretty obvious, but he was honest about that. At least he said it. You know what I mean? If he didn't say it, that would everybody would be like, I mean, we watch fights, you don't, and that it is what it is.
To that point, though, I mean, fair enough. If he got the job, I wouldn't turn it down if I got the job either. And he's honest with it. It's a negative mark on the UFC having him on if he's not an actual fight.
But Ty, let me ask you this: why do you think he got the job?
I think that he knows somebody.
He does.
Why do you think he got the job?
Because he knows somebody.
He knows Dana.
Okay, so CJ, why do you think he got the job? Go ahead, you weigh in.
No, I think that he does have a track record as a sharp bettor, but I think Ian has a good point. MMA is just different than other sports. And I think part of that reason is it's such a young sport in the grand scheme of things, right? It's been around, 20 years? When you really think about it, like the UFC. Okay, well, I'm not talking about the shit that happened back in the early 90s, right? Like, when did the UFC start becoming big again? 2004, 2005, after Forrest Griffin, Stephen Bonner, Ultimate Fighter Season 1. Yep. That's when it really took off. It's such a young sport. Baseball, basketball, football, hockey, those sports have been around forever. there's a lot of data that's been accumulated, a lot of trends that have been accumulated. So one thing that I can't stand is everybody keeps on ripping parlays. So this is the first time ever the Parlay King hit a parlay during the fucking broadcast, by the way. I did a straight bet for Morales and Joseph, and then I parlayed for $25. Morales and Joseph won $149.38.
Oh, you must have been following Ty Slice 23 on Twitter.
I did that. No, did you bet both those guys?
Yeah.
Oh. No,
I mean,
I made that bet earlier in the day.
If you would like.
All right, so
I made that bet at 151.
I'm going to make my 1 point on Yanni. And again, Yanni's been nothing but nice to me. He's been nothing but nice to CJ and I. Back and forth all week. He's a legitimate nice guy.
Yes.
And I'm not saying that to kind of sugarcoat anything. All I'm saying by saying that to everybody is that he was given this job. He was given a 5-year deal with the UFC to give out his picks and his stuff. I don't think the UFC wants somebody that's going to be that's going to watch the fights, break down fights like we're doing and like a lot of other people do, right? A lot of other people do the same kind of thing. Ty Slice does this for prize picks. He gives out his projections for DraftKings. Ian Parker, I know you do your breakdown. You told me, did you watch it last Friday? I did watch it, and I covered the event last week. So I did watch your breakdown, and CG obviously knows he's welcome on this podcast every time. He's part of this podcast. We're going to go see the event in at UFC 244. So there's a lot of people that break down fights. The thing with Yanni is he knows he's not a UFC bettor, and I think that's what the UFC wanted. They want somebody who's not going to move lines. And Yanni right now is going to talk about bets, talk about where the money's moving. He's not going to move lines.
Go ahead. The thing with that though, he's on a show that's being watched. Yeah, that's the people. He's going to move the lines.
But yeah, and that's I got to be honest. I got to be honest with you. Hold on, dude. I got to be honest with you. Here's the deal, right? He is a very, very well-known guy out in Vegas for good and bad. He could be the nicest guy in the world, however you want to skin the cat, and that's cool. I'm sure he was nice on the show. I'm not saying him as a person, but here's what I will tell you. To Ty's point, he's on a Instagram, Twitter, social media platform that's one of the biggest in the world, like outside of Dwayne Johnson and Kendall Kylie Jenner, okay? So if you're telling me that someone who's going to go on there and tell the world, I'm placing these, the sharps are hitting and moving lines here, he is doing that. The UFC doesn't – listen – the UFC they found a guy who was popular in Vegas. He's based in Vegas. He's got a track record as a professional gambler, and he knows Dana. That's how it went down, right? Here's what I will tell you, though. It's not going to last more than a year. I'm calling it right now because the UFC, the betting in MMA is getting so popular now in every way, shape, or form, all right? It's growing, especially with being legalized everywhere and anywhere. It's going to get bigger. And if they're going to have a guy on there who's clearly not providing information listen, people want to tune in who don't know about the sport like we do and listen to a guy and just say, okay, cool, I don't need a whole breakdown, but if Yanni or however you pronounce his name is going to bet these two guys, I'm going to do it, right? But if he keeps losing, they're not going to tune into the channel. They're going to change it every time the guy opens his mouth, all right? So you can't tell me that he is not going to have the power to move the lines. I don't think the four of us have the power to move the lines, and not to be – I'm on Anik and Florian every week, and John Anik could say, oh, who are you laying your money on? And he's got a bigger voice than all of us combined because of what he does for the show. You know, my whole point is this. The guy could be super nice, all right? And listen, he got the job. Cool. I wish I got it. But at the same time, though, I think it's for the UFC, they're going to start catching. Believe me, Dana, they listen to what the fans say. It's going to matter at some point. And to Ty's point, he has power to move lines if he's on this platform. If he knows nothing about this sport, don't tell us that these people he's getting bets from are betting these. That's all I'm saying. And if he's admitting to you that he's not an MMA guy, go do your homework. Because honestly, I'm being forced to watch him because I follow the UFC on social media, you know. And at this point, I'm just curious to who he's going to get wrong every week. That's what it's becoming. People are saying fade him every week. That's not a good look for the UFC. They don't want to be putting out false content each week. Trust me. I know the UFC well, man. It's going to catch up to them at some point. You'll see.
I don't think they care. I really don't. I
they
think
care.
You think they care about the guy that they're putting up to talk about bets, that he gets them right or wrong?
No, that he gets wrong. Yeah. So here's the deal. Dana is he's got a huge ego, obviously, right? And he's not a stupid guy. If there's someone on there representing the UFC that's coming off as if they don't know what he's talking about and he keeps losing each week, why would the UFC then go through the time to have him on there to pick wrong and to not know what he's saying? Why would you not have a former fighter who's not even an analyst anymore? I'd rather have Dominic Cruz take an extra 2 minutes and tell us who he thinks is going to win on a night that he's not calling the fights at the Contender Series. I'd rather hear Paul Felder. I'd rather hear guys that actually can pick fights based on why we all as bettors choose, not just not because of, it just doesn't sit well.
That's kind of what I was saying, why it seems a little bit amateurish.
Yeah. That's,
But I feel like it's amateurish because they don't want to move lines. I think that the books are going to get real pissed off if they put a legit gambler on, right? They put somebody that really wins bets, whether it's parlays, straight picks, or whatever. If they have somebody on that's going to move lines, everybody's going to bet whatever is on that UFC Twitter because that guy says it.
Steve, let me just tell you something, a little behind the scenes thing. So Prize Picks, it's kind of like we kind of move the lines like the UFC, like Vegas moves UFC lines.
Right.
So there's certain sites that they put out podcasts and they tout certain people. When they tout those people, we see an influx of all one side movement because people are just blindly following them. And it's the same thing here. Like, if you don't know, so say if you don't know MMA and you're going to watch the Contender Series with fighters that you don't know, but you're on a Tuesday night, you want to relax and just watch it and you want some action on the fights, you don't want to take the time to research it. You're watching this guy that's a so-called professional bettor. He's giving you, oh, this is who I like, this is who I like, this is who I like. If you just want some action on the fights, you're going to go and put money on whatever he's telling you. And because he's representing a bettor. At that point, he's not representing the UFC. He's on a UFC platform representing himself as a professional bettor, giving you advice to bet these people. And so if you don't know anything about the fights, or if you don't know the fighters that are fighting, you're going to blindly put your money behind them without any research because you're not really that invested in it. And so like that, I see that happen with Prize Picks every week. And I guarantee you it's happening on a much grander scale with the UFC and Vegas lines.
But I don't see the bad part in that. Who makes money? If someone's putting bad picks and people are following them, who makes money on that?
It's a bad look for the UFC to put somebody on that doesn't know what he's talking about. Because they're a professional. Hey
guys, I don't mean to intervene. I'm sorry. I got a jet. I apologize. I just didn't want to just duck out. I just want to appreciate you guys for having me on. This has been awesome. Ty, I don't mean to cut you off. I apologize, bro. But I do agree with everything you're saying. All right, so guys, I appreciate you guys having me on. I would love to do it again sometime. You guys are awesome. I appreciate everything. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Have a good time, guys.
Go ahead, Ty.
Yeah, what I was saying is, the UFC is a professional organization. They pride themselves on having the best. Like, even with fighters, with analysts, they pride themselves on having the best. So now they're putting this guy on that's a professional gambler. If there's the allure that he doesn't know what he's talking about, why are they going to have him on continuously? And I haven't watched enough of the guy to actually know. I just know, like, from the brief periods that I do watch, that it seems kind of amateur. And if he's saying that he's not a professional, that he doesn't really watch the fights too much, it's not really a good look for the UFC. But
CJ, you're sitting back, and I really want to get your take on this. Go ahead.
I think people need to realize, I'm scrolling through Twitter and people keep on saying, like, I should be that guy. I should be the guy. You need to remember it's fucking show business. He's from Vegas. People in Vegas know who he is. He looks the part. He talks the part. That's what it is. People need to stop taking this so goddamn personally. I mean, the guy's a professional bettor. I'm sure he was very successful. Does he know a lot about MMA? No. He admitted that last week. He's got a certain system that he has when he makes his bets. I think it's been very successful in other sports, as we've been seeing. It hasn't been as successful in MMA. But I think MMA is different. Like I said earlier, it's a young sport. And I just don't think that you can have this thought process that, like, all the sports are the same. I mean, maybe he's right. Maybe, he just hasn't hit his stride yet. I don't know. He's been doing this a lot longer than I have. All I know is we had him on last week. He was a hell of a nice guy. I think he did give us some good advice, especially off air, right, Steve? So,
yeah.
I mean, I'm going to try to take his advice. He gave us, a couple pointers that I'm going to try to utilize this weekend, and hopefully I can make some money. But, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, people on Twitter are just, God, man, the haters. I just can't do it. I don't know. I guess I don't have that much fucking hatred in my heart. I don't know. Some of the shit people say, it's like, all right, I don't know. It's not my style, I guess. But, I'm just here to drink beer, talk fights, win some money. I'm never going to move Vegas lines more than likely. So it is what it is. I'm just here to have a good time.
Yeah, and I'll go one step further, and this is the only thing that I'll say in addition to what I've already said. I think that the most important thing here is that if people want to move lines, and that's kind of what he talked about last week, if you see a fight that's like minus 110, minus 115, what a lot of these guys will do is they'll put a big bet on whoever it is that's, the other side of that line, right? CG, what he was saying is plus 105, plus 110, plus 115. They're putting a big bet there to move the line so that the other side of the bet is now plus 105, so that they make the same bet on the other side when they move it, and then they're guaranteed money.
Right.
See, those aren't MMA bettors, though. Those aren't people that are breaking down lines. Those are people just randomly throwing money to try to make money. That's like a scheme to me.
Yeah.
It's not betting.
Well,
betting is taking a stance on a fighter. This fighter's going to win the fight, which is what we do, right? That's what we do on this podcast. Go ahead, Todd. What do you think?
No, I mean, I know a lot of professional bettors do that to guarantee profit, but they're doing that with $500,000 on both sides, and that's how the line moves. But if he's giving advice to just people that are watching on a Tuesday night, it's not really a good look to somebody that's betting $5 or $10.
Guys, I have to interrupt. I know we're on separate sides of this fight. Bandinai, Garagori, I think we can both say that somebody's gassing out in this fight. There's a good chance that somebody could get finished. Bandinai, Garagori goes 3-round distance, plus 170. They both have gas tank issues. I'm betting that.
You're betting that it does go to the
Oh, fuck. I'm sorry. I read that wrong. No, fight. Okay, never mind. See, you made me drink beer tonight, you prick. I was going to have a nice little night drinking my water. God damn it. Never mind. Read it wrong. I'm sorry.
Did you see Morales went off at plus 275?
Yeah. What did I get him at?
I got him at plus 205.
Let me see what I got him at.
I'm not sure why everybody was on par.
Yeah. No.
So this has been one of the – last week was the longest podcast, Brews and Bets, that we've ever done. This week is probably the second longest. That's the odds that CG is talking about. Fight doesn't go to decision. Minus 230. I'm pretty sure that fight is going to finish because I think somebody's going to gas and somebody's going to get finished. CG may play that. I'm staying away from that fight altogether myself.
Yeah, I mean, minus 230 with two fighters that have a 1, maybe 2-round gas tank.
It's not terrible. I like Bandinai a lot in that fight, though.
I feel like Bandinai's only path to victory is head kick. I don't know. What else does he have?
I mean, he's going to be working kicks from the outside. And, I mean, he's pretty effective in counters also. Garagori is really aggressive and comes in wild.
Yeah. I love cards like this. I really do. I think there's a lot of value. I mean, most casuals don't know these guys, haven't done their research. I do shitty with the pay-per-views. I'll be the first to admit, but with these smaller cards,
I mean, because you ignore Uriah Faber in Sacramento.
Oh, man. The horse is dead. The horse is dead.
Listen, all I can tell you is at this point, an hour and 40-minute podcast. We can't do this every week, but I want to give a big shout out to StreamYard. If anybody is looking to do podcasting, StreamYard has a free version and a paid version. We actually have the paid version. I put the money up to do this. I think it's a great thing for CG and Ty. Ty, are you committing to being on every week at this point? Are you kind of settled in or not really yet next week?
Well, this week my son had surgery in the morning. I kind of just wanted a mental break just to shoot the shit and talk about some fights and stuff. I didn't even know you guys were going to be on tonight. I'm going to be traveling tomorrow. And so when I seen you tag me in the tweet that you were going to be on tonight, I figured after the stressful week and morning and stuff, I just wanted to get on and kind of just relax a little bit. I'm hoping to be on now going forward. I'm going to connect with you later in the week and let you know for sure. I know that I'm going to be heading up to Anaheim next Friday to work the fights, the Cormier-Stipe fight, and to go see Nate Diaz. So I'm going to be at that fight. So, I hope to get on Tuesday or Wednesday whenever we decide.
Yeah, and again, Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever CG. I know CG has Muay Thai on Wednesday, right? So Tuesday.
That's true, but you can do it at like 9:30 or something.
Yeah, and I just apologize for not being around as much. Like I'm going through a move and everything, and then my son had surgery this morning, so just dealing with life stuff, and we've kind of bounced around on the schedule, so it hasn't really been a set schedule. So I'm finding it hard to kind of balance what I have going on with what time we're going to be on and try to plan everything. So that's why I've kind of been MIA a little bit the last few weeks.
Understandable. We wish the little man the best for sure.
Thank you. Yeah, he got his tonsils and adenoids removed. When he woke up, he was kind of panicking, and it was a stressful morning, but he's doing better now.
Good to hear.
Lots of Tylenol and Motrin.
Well, listen, fellas, I've had 48 ounces of beer. I need a few chips before bed, and then I gotta pee. So let's call it a day. And everybody, good luck this week. This is Brews and Bets, and hopefully you do pretty well on your bets. CG, anything else this week? You doing anything else?
No. So it's the wife and I celebrating our 6-year anniversary on Saturday. We're going to be at a concert. So you guys are going to have to text Florida Georgia line.
Oh, okay.
They put on good stuff.
Yeah. So going to see that over at DTE Theater, Clarkston, Michigan. So excited about that. But you guys are going to have to text me throughout the night to make sure that my parlays are hitting and keep me updated. Let me know when Mike Perry knocks out Vicente, okay?
Way too many cards you're missing, bro. You're going to weddings. You're going to Florida Line. You're missing a lot of cards.
I am. I mean, I'm not happy about it, but it is what it is, man. Our summers are always like this, We've had so many weddings over the last couple of years. All my friends are getting married, and pretty soon, in a couple of years, I'm going to start going to their second weddings and stuff like that. So, that's life. That's how it goes, right?
Second weddings, unbelievable. I think you just took a knock on me. I'm married twice now.
Hey,
I had no idea. I did not know that.
Did you see that Disney just announced that they're packaging their premium channels starting in November? They're doing Disney Plus, ESPN Plus, and Hulu for $12.99 a month.
So that affects UFC, huh?
Yep.
Really?
I had no idea.
By the way, we still have to keep on pushing this fight library thing because it's really pissing me off.
Yeah,
I got rid of Fight Pass because what's the goddamn point, honestly?
I've tweeted a couple times about it, but I think UFC really needs to do something about the fight library.
Yeah,
man, I get it. I don't even look through the library. I just go on YouTube and a Google search.
I do too, but it was nice having Fight Pass. Everything was readily available. And
if you guys want to see some high level jiu-jitsu, Look up Vieira's jiu-jitsu matches.
I did.
I watched him today.
Yeah.
Did you watch who did you watch it versus Almeida?
No, some Kit something. What was his name?
He actually spent a lot of the time. He went to decision. He won a decision, but he spent a lot of 2018 something.
You seen the one versus Kit Dale?
Yes.
That was one of his last matches before his retirement.
But he's training with Jacare right now, isn't he?
I'm not sure, but
I believe he is.
When I said that he's one of the better heavyweight grapplers, jiu-jitsu guys of all time, like that's not a joke. Like he's legit. Him and Almeida are top notch.
Yeah.
Does he train with Jacare? Is that ATT?
I think it's in Orlando, Florida, with Mike Perry. Is it Fusion X or something? Like I can find out in a second here.
I thought Perry was training at the UFC gym down there.
I know he was training with Jackson Wink for a little bit, but I thought before that he was definitely training in Orlando for a little bit.
And Jacare tweeted out today that he's looking for a fight at UFC 244 in New York City.
Yeah, with Kelvin, right? He wants a rematch with Gastelum.
Yeah.
Fun stuff.
All right, so let's call it a day for Brews and Bets. We'll end it there. Anybody want to hit us up on Twitter? That's fine. We got an hour and 45 minutes of footage, so there'll be plenty of tweets this week from me. I'll be annoying everybody.
Oh man, I can't even.